Have you ever stopped to wonder why some men in their 60s still wake up with powerful, lasting erections, while others slowly lose their drive and accept it as just old age? Here's the truth that will shock you. It's not age that robs your manhood. It's not the calendar. The real culprit is what you put on your plate each day, and something as small as the nuts you snack on can either keep your prostate strong, your testosterone high, and your performance alive for hours, or quietly strangle your vitality from the inside out. My name is Dr. Mohit Kara. I'm a men's health specialist with more than 30 years of experience helping men over 60 restore their confidence, protect their prostate, and regain the kind of energy they thought was gone forever. I've sat with thousands of patients who felt ashamed, whispering that they no longer felt like themselves, and I've guided them back, not with miracle drugs, but with proven science and natural choices that work. Here's the paradox most men never hear. The very nuts you believe are harmless can become either your greatest allies or your silent enemies. Some ignite blood flow, protect nerve endings, and unlock testosterone like nature's own medicine. Others, often the ones you eat every day, inflame your body, choke circulation, and quietly drain your desire. That's why today I'm going to reveal the 5 nuts I recommend to my patients to supercharge their prostate, lift their hormones, and reignite their performance. And I'll expose the 2 that can slowly kill your strength and confidence if you don't cut them out. Stay with me, because the last one I reveal is the nut most men eat daily, without realizing it could be undermining everything they've worked so hard to hold on to. Before we dive in, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss another tip designed to protect your prostate and keep your performance strong. And I'd love your feedback. If this video helps you, type yes in the comments. And if you'd like me to improve, type no, so I know exactly how to serve you better. Now, let's begin with the very first nut I recommend to nearly every man over 60. It may look simple, even ordinary, but inside it holds the key to unlocking stronger blood flow, healthier nerves, and a steady rise in testosterone. That nut is the powerful walnut. Walnuts, the blood flow booster. One walnut, the blood flow booster. When I think back over the past 3 decades of treating men, there is one nut I almost always recommend first, and it's one that surprises a lot of my patients. Walnuts. They sit there in the grocery store, wrinkled, plain, and often ignored. Yet, they hold a kind of quiet power that can transform a man's vitality. I'll never forget a gentleman in his late 60s who came into my office, slumped in the chair, convinced that age had taken away his mornings forever. He said, "Doctor, I guess this is just what getting old feels like." But when we introduced walnuts into his daily routine, just a small handful, something remarkable happened. Within weeks, his mornings returned with a strength and firmness he thought was long gone. And when he looked at me, his eyes had that sparkle of confidence again. The secret lies in what's hidden inside those wrinkled shells. Walnuts are packed with omega-3 fatty acids and arginine, 2 nutrients that the body uses to create nitric oxide. Think of nitric oxide as the master key that unlocks your blood vessels, letting them open wide so blood can surge exactly where you need it most. Without it, erections weaken and fade. With it, firmness comes back as if someone has flipped a switch. Walnuts don't stop there. They're also loaded with vitamin E and polyphenols, powerful antioxidants that protect the delicate nerves responsible for arousal and sensitivity. When those nerves are shielded and nourished, intimacy feels alive again, not dulled by age, but perhaps what excites my patients the most is how walnuts support natural testosterone balance. Healthy fats provide the building blocks your body needs to maintain hormone levels, which means not just stronger erections, but also more steady energy, better mood, and a sense of confidence that radiates into daily life. And you don't need buckets of them. just a quarter cup a day, tossed on a salad or eaten as a snack, is enough to set the foundation. Now, if walnuts are the key that restores blood flow and brings firmness back to life, imagine what happens when you add a nut that directly calms the silent thief of testosterone, stress itself. Almonds, the stress hormone blocker. 2. Almonds, the stress hormone blocker. I often tell my patients that stress is the silent thief of masculinity. It sneaks into a man's life quietly, piling up from years of responsibility, financial worries, health concerns, or simply the weight of time. Many men over 60 come to me saying they feel drained, less interested in intimacy, and quick to tire. They think it's age. But when I look closer, what I often see is cortisol, the stress hormone running the show. High cortisol pushes testosterone down, and with it go energy, drive, and performance. This is where almonds, humble as they may seem, can make an extraordinary difference. I remember a man who sat in my office, exhausted from long days and restless nights. He had developed a habit of finishing each evening with cookies and a glass of milk, hoping for comfort. I suggested a change that felt almost too simple. Replaced the cookies with a handful of raw almonds. A few weeks later, he returned and his voice carried a new tone. He said, "Doctor, I feel calmer, like my body finally took a deep breath. And for the first time in years, I wake up feeling alive." What happened wasn't magic. It was the steady hand of magnesium and vitamin E at work. Almonds are rich in magnesium, a mineral that acts like a brake pedal on cortisol. Lower cortisol means testosterone finally has the room to rise. At the same time, vitamin E polishes the inner walls of blood vessels, keeping them flexible, smooth, and ready for healthy circulation. The result is not just stronger performance, but also steadier stamina and a body that feels ready instead of worn out. But I always warn, almonds only work their magic when they're raw or lightly roasted. Once they're coated in sugar or salt, the benefits slip away. Now, if almonds calm the storm of stress and give testosterone a chance to rise, the next nut doesn't just support circulation. It flips the nitric oxide switch wide open, with results so powerful they've even been proven in clinical studies. 3. Pistachios, the pistachios, the clinical proof. Nut, clinical proof nut. There is something almost playful about pistachios, those little green gems tucked inside their shells. Most men think of them as just a snack to pass the time, but in my practice, I've come to see them as something far more powerful. Pistachios may look small, but inside they carry a nutrient that can completely change the way a man experiences intimacy. That nutrient is arginine, the building block your body uses to create nitric oxide. And nitric oxide, as I tell every patient, is the master switch of erections. Without it, blood vessels stay tight and rigid. With it, they open wide, allowing blood to surge freely into the tissues that give you strength and firmness. I'll never forget one patient in his 70s who came to me discouraged after years of trying medication with little relief. I asked him to add a handful of pistachios to his afternoon routine. Nothing else. Within just 3 weeks, his energy lifted, his confidence returned, and his mornings became stronger than he had felt in years. His words to me were simple but unforgettable. "Doctor, I finally feel like myself again." That moment stays with me because it proves just how much a natural, simple food can change a man's life. And it isn't just anecdotal. Clinical studies have shown that men who eat pistachios daily for only 3 weeks experience measurable improvement in erectile function. That's faster than many expect from prescriptions, and it comes from nothing more complicated than a natural snack. Pistachios also help lower LDL, the so-called bad cholesterol that clogs arteries like sludge in a pipe. By clearing those pathways, pistachios don't just protect your heart and brain, they protect the most intimate part of your life as well. But as impressive as pistachios are, there is one nut that takes things to another level. It's so concentrated in a single rare mineral that even just 1 or 2 pieces can reset testosterone, protect the prostate, and give back vitality in a way few men ever expect. Brazil nuts. The testosterone reset 4. Brazil nuts. The testosterone reset. Of all the foods I recommend to men over 60, few spark more disbelief than the Brazil nut. When I tell my patients that just 1 or 2 of these oversized nuts a day can shift their energy, balance their hormones, and even protect their prostate, they usually smile politely as if waiting for the catch. But there is no catch. The truth is that Brazil nuts are nature's richest source of selenium, a trace mineral that quietly governs some of the most important processes in a man's body. Without enough selenium, testosterone begins to fall, energy declines, and the prostate becomes more vulnerable. With the right amount, however, testosterone steadies, vitality returns, and men begin to feel that spark of life once again. I recall one gentleman who came to me frustrated by constant fatigue and a fading interest in intimacy. His blood work showed his selenium levels were low, something he had never even thought about before. I asked him to add 2 Brazil nuts to his nightly routine. Nothing more. 6 weeks later, he came back with brighter eyes and a stronger voice. His hormone levels had improved, his energy was back, and he told me, "Doctor, I never thought something so small could make such a difference." That's the beauty of Brazil nuts. It's not about quantity, it's about precision. But I always make this clear, more is not better. Selenium builds up in the body and too much can become harmful. 1 or 2 Brazil nuts a day is enough. No more. Think of them as nature's own testosterone pill, measured exactly as your body needs it. And when eaten in the evening, they help support overnight hormone balance, which is why many men report waking with renewed strength and firmer mornings. Now, if Brazil nuts show us the hidden power of one rare mineral, the next nut takes a completely different path. It doesn't just work on hormones or circulation, it protects the very wiring of desire itself. And once you understand how, you'll never overlook it again. 5. Hazelnuts, the nerve. Hazelnuts. The nerve, protector. Hazelnuts are often overlooked, tucked away in desserts or holiday treats. But when eaten in their natural form, they hold a secret that most men never realize. I've seen this nut change the way a man feels about himself. Not because it pumps up hormones directly, but because it safeguards something even more fragile. The nerves that carry arousal signals from the brain to the body. Think of those nerves as the electrical wiring of intimacy. If the cables are weak or frayed, the signal is dull, the response delayed, and pleasure fades. But when the nerves are nourished and protected, the message is sharp, immediate, and alive. I once had a patient in his early 60s, a man who had built a life of hard work and responsibility, but who came to me embarrassed that intimacy no longer felt the same. He said, "Doctor, I can still perform, but it feels muted, almost distant." I recommended adding hazelnuts to his daily snacks, just a small handful. Within weeks, he came back smiling, almost surprised. He told me, "It's like someone turned the volume back up." That shift wasn't coincidence. Hazelnuts are rich in folate, magnesium, and healthy fats, nutrients that feed the nervous system and calm the stress that steals testosterone. Magnesium lowers cortisol, creating the balance every man needs, while folate helps the body repair and maintain nerve health. The result is a more sensitive, responsive experience that makes intimacy feel alive again. And there's another benefit. Hazelnuts are deeply satisfying without being heavy. For men carrying extra belly fat, a known enemy of testosterone, choosing hazelnuts over processed snacks helps trim the waistline while supporting hormone balance. It's a quiet but powerful advantage. Every handful is not just a snack. It's an investment in the wiring of your vitality. Now, while these 5 nuts form a powerful team that can restore blood flow, hormones, and sensitivity, the story is not complete without a warning. Because there are 2 nuts most men eat without thinking that may be silently undermining everything you've worked for. 6. Peanuts. The silent saboteur. Peanuts. The silent saboteur. Peanuts are perhaps the most familiar snack in America. They sit in bowls at parties, fill lunch boxes, and are spread thick on sandwiches. But here's the truth I've had to share with countless patients. Peanuts are not the friends you think they are. In fact, they're not even real nuts. They're legumes. And with that difference comes a set of risks most men never consider. The first and most serious is aflatoxin, a toxin from mold that can contaminate peanuts during storage. Your liver works tirelessly to process these toxins, but when it's under constant strain, hormone balance suffers, and when testosterone drops, fatigue, low desire, and weaker performance soon follow. But that's not the only danger hiding in peanuts. They're naturally high in omega-6 fatty acids. And while the body needs some omega-6, the modern diet is already overloaded with it. When omega-6 overwhelms omega-3, inflammation takes over. Inflammation is the sworn enemy of a man's vitality. It stiffens arteries, clogs circulation, irritates the prostate, and quietly undermines confidence. I remember one patient who loved his nightly peanut butter sandwiches. He thought it was harmless comfort food. Yet, he came to me exhausted, complaining of weaker erections and low energy. When we removed peanuts from his diet and replaced them with healthier nuts, his energy lifted, his mood brightened, and his confidence began to return. Does this mean you can never touch peanuts again? Not at all. A handful here and there won't destroy your health. But when peanuts are your go-to snack day after day, they become a silent saboteur, working against you in ways you don't feel until it's too late. And that's why I urge my patients to be cautious. Still, peanuts are only part of the story. There's another nut, creamy and tempting, that most men eat without a second thought. Yet, hidden inside are compounds that rob your body of the very minerals you need for testosterone and circulation. And this one too deserves a closer look. 7. Cashews. The mineral cashews. The mineral thief. Cashews are tricky because they seem so safe. They're smooth, creamy, and often the first nut people reach for in a jar of mixed nuts. I've had countless patients tell me they snack on cashews every evening, believing they're doing something healthy for their bodies. But when I look at their blood work, when I listen to their struggles with low energy, stubborn belly fat, and fading desire, I see a different story. Cashews carry hidden traps that slowly chip away at a man's strength, and most men have no idea what's happening. One of the biggest issues is phytic acid, a natural compound found in cashews. On the surface, it sounds harmless, but inside the body, it binds to minerals like zinc and magnesium, 2 of the most important nutrients for male vitality. Zinc is the spark that drives testosterone production. Magnesium is the mineral that keeps blood vessels relaxed and circulation flowing. When cashews rob your body of these essentials, it's like pulling the foundation out from under a house. Testosterone weakens, blood flow stiffens, and performance suffers. Then there's another problem few men realize. Cashews are higher in carbohydrates than most other nuts. Eat too many and blood sugar spikes. Each spike forces insulin to rise. And when insulin stays high, testosterone falls and belly fat creeps in. It's a vicious cycle. More weight around the waist, less testosterone, and a growing sense of fatigue that makes life feel heavier than it should. I think of one patient who swore by his cashew habit. Every night, he'd munch through a bowl while watching TV. Over time, his waistline expanded, his energy dropped, and his mood darkened. When we cut back the cashews and replaced them with nuts that fueled his body instead of draining it, the difference was remarkable. He looked lighter, he felt stronger, and he told me, "Doctor, I feel like I've gotten a piece of my life back." Cashews aren't poison, and an occasional handful won't destroy you. But when they become your daily snack, they quietly steal the very minerals and balance you need to thrive. And this is why, after seeing the 5 nuts that build your vitality and the 2 that quietly tear it down, I want to leave you with a final message that could reshape the way you think about age, health, and your future. Conclusion: the doctor's prescription. Conclusion: the doctor's prescription. So, here's the truth I want you to carry with you. 5. Nuts, walnuts, almonds, pistachios, Brazil nuts, and hazelnuts are your allies, fueling blood flow, protecting nerves, balancing hormones, and keeping your prostate strong. And 2, peanuts and cashews may look harmless, but can quietly steal your strength if you let them. I've seen men in their 60s and 70s transform their energy, confidence, and performance with nothing more than these simple swaps. Age is not the end. Your choices are. Choose wisely, and your best years can still be ahead of you.